Hello everybody. Welcome to Toonkind 12 FPS. My name is Fable, and with me today is
AudioVisual.
Hello,
Draft House's local Toonkind bootleg Sable.
I love that that's your introduction.
I have a shtick and I must stick to it.
I'm very glad because there's the title card. I'm very glad about that. If just because I'm just imagining that the day you do change your icon, but you don't like undo the invisibility on your name. So I'll see the icon and just be like, "Who the fuck is this?"
No, I fully plan on sticking with my transparent Sable icons that I occasionally swap out for as long as possible.
As long as they're Sableye.
Yeah.
People are gonna hold you to this now, man.
Probably.
You've
But
cemented yourself to this responsibility to be Sableye.
Absolutely. It's funny because like Sableye is like in my top 10, but I definitely have Pokemon I love more than Sableye. So it's just like I'm just stuck as Sableye.
Boy, I had to burp. Yeah, but to be fair, God, I have to burp again. It's always on voice chat. It's always on voice chat that I have to burp. I hate it. I don't know why. But no, Sableye is very valid. Listen, Sableye is cute as all heck and valid. And uses.
Yeah, we're here for a reason and not.
Yeah, we're here.
About my icon.
We're not talking just about Discord icons. It's tough. We are here because, well, the name of today's FPS, if you haven't gleaned that from the title card or the title of the video when I upload it, is Coffee Break. And for some context, if anyone hasn't seen the Bon and Sandy FPS, I'd recommend listening to that because it's very cute and very just, my heart. My heart, it gives me emotions. But basically, in that FPS, Bob had asked Bon to give his friend slash family slash little sister a checkup because Sandy has some baggage with doctors, and Bob is worried. So, anyways, that checkup happened. How is Bon feeling right now?
Well, I do have a question. Like, how soon after is this from that FPS?
I want to say this is probably like later in the day. Like they've had their lunch. Sandy's, I imagine, has gone home or somewhere adventuring, and Bon and Bob have gone back to work. And this is like just as the workday is coming to an end.
I mean, Bon has probably kept themselves busy, sort of like thinking about it, but not really thinking about it, making sure anyone who could have potentially gotten so much as a busted knee while they were gone feels Bon's full wrath of, why would you do this while I wasn't here? I was gone for maybe 3 hours. What is wrong with you?
I just cleaned up this mess. Can we keep it clean for 10 minutes?
Yeah, pretty much. And so if this is towards the end of the day, they're probably cleaning up their office from anything they might have used. And they have both the confidentiality agreement and probably, unless they left the adoption papers with Bob, both of those are probably still like on their desk. So like every once in a while they'll like catch a glimpse of them out of the corner of their eye, and they'll like very like quickly like look away like, I don't have time to think about that and my poor decisions in life.
Yeah, for people who haven't, spoiler alert, for people who haven't listened to the FPS, Bon adopted Sandy legally.
Legally, Bon is now the parent of both Marcel and Sandy.
Both of whom are family to Bob, not by blood, or actually not even by legal paperwork, but in all emotional and in all the emotional connection that family can be, their family to Bob. So
Yeah. So so Bon is obviously still wearing like the pink shirt from earlier today, and like just they're just vibing. They're doing their best.
I love that it's pink. I'm tempted to call you out on that, but I won't, just because
I need you to know that Bon has probably been wearing like the same 7 colors for every day they have to come in for like 7 years now at least. So this has probably thrown more people off than anyone ever thought.
This delights me. This delights me because I know because I think I know why the pink is happening. That makes me so happy. But anyways, back at back at
Back
the
at it again.
back to the. So here we are in Dota Studios. Bon, you are is at the end of the workday. You are working, and you hear just a small little. Oh, yeah, that's how you do it.
Bon turns to look, and I'm guessing it's Bob at the door.
Yeah. I forget that these doors have windows in them. Is the door open or closed?
The door is probably closed, to be honest, if it's the end of the day.
Okay. I do Bob is short, so and I think he's still shorter than the windows that are in the doors. So you probably just see like the top of his head.
Bless. Bon slowly puts down like the stuff they were messing with and walks over to the door and like slowly opens it and like looks down to see, Bob.
Oh, hi, hi, Bon. He's fidgeting his hands a little bit.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, is this a bad time? I realize the workday is about to be over, and I if wondering if you had time to talk.
Bon takes a step back and opens the door wider. Oh, I'm okay. You can come in.
Oh, thank you. He will walk in. I'm just gonna make a quick perception roll to see if he sees the papers on your desk, which he most likely will. But it's D&D, and I may as well make a couple rolls while I'm here.
Yeah.
This is 12.
12.
This is 12. It's not the best. He's not super focused. He's a bit more.
He probably catches like a glimpse of like, yeah, there's definitely papers on Bond's desk.
Right. Well, I bet you could guess. Why I can. We didn't really get to talk much at lunch. Lunch.
No, we really didn't. Here. And Bon very slowly shuts the door so that way they are much less likely to get eavesdropped upon, even by accident. And then they sort of gesture for Bob to come in more to their office.
And Bob will do so. He will. So yeah. You you adopted Sandy. That's. He just laughs a little. He just chuckles a little bit. Doesn't really know what to say.
Bon sort of like pauses and like is like, yeah, I sure did, huh? And then they sort of they just sort of rustle their feathers a little, like, their gaze is a little far away, and then they look back at Bob and they say, I sure did, huh?
Yeah, you kind of you beat me to it.
Um,
So, in concerns of that, because, well, yeah, you beat me to it. Do we have to fight now? I read a few things. They might be outdated. I was told that people have to fight for, these sort of things. I might be wrong. Oh, okay, you're
Bond
laughing.
starts
It is
Bond
outdated.
starts
Okay.
laughing, and it's a little hysterical because Bond just sort of scrubs their hands over their face and like ruffles all their feathers up and like presses their palms into their eyes and stuff. And they just look at Bob and no, Bob, we don't have to fight. I'm not going to fight you.
Oh, good, because I don't want to fight you either. That's good. Oof. I'm
Oh,
not even.
Bob.
I mean, I'm not even sure how well I do. I mean, I've gotten better, but obviously, and he holds his arms out and attempts to do like the show off muscles pose, but he has no muscles. He's paper.
Oh, bless his heart. Yeah, Bon gives another like squeaky sort of laugh at that, and they no, I probably wouldn't want to cause any more shenanigans in the studio than everyone else seems to, you know?
Oh, yeah, I know. There's definitely there's definitely no small amount of shenanigans.
Do
Yeah.
do Bob, I mean, we haven't filed the paperwork yet. Do you want to take a second look at them?
Uh, Bob Bob immediately perks his head up and nods like without hesitation, like, oh, yeah, yes, please.
And Bon slowly walks over to their desk and they shift a few papers around and they pull out the adoption papers for Sandy and they turn and they offer them to Bob.
Bob will take them. Are there any like tune-sized chairs? Because I know Bon
Um,
is real kind.
yeah. Bon probably has like a few like cots in their office for like people who have to like lay down and stuff. And then they probably do have like a few different chairs. I mean, Bob is around NG's size and like most of the owls, honestly. So they probably do have like a couple of chairs, you know, like at least one probably next to their desk.
Yeah, Bob, whichever is the easier chair for him to get up on.
Yeah,
Bob is short.
there's yeah, I'll say there's probably like a perfectly good Bob-sized chair next to Bond's desk, sort of like facing. So like Bond's chair would be facing towards the window. This chair would be facing with the back to the window. So like that.
I
So he can absolutely just hop in onto it and put the papers back down on the desk and use the desk basically.
Yeah, that is what he's gonna do. So, has it been, and as he's doing, I think he's just gonna idly talk as he goes over the papers, because going over paperwork is very easy for him, so he can
Mhm.
multitask. So, has how has the workday been? Not too busy?
The the usual amount of empty-headed causations of injuries, you know.
Uh, maybe.
I'm just I'm just glad I didn't have to pull anyone out of the vents.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be very good if they got stuck in the vents again. I'd heard that story. It's actually a little funny when you think about it. A little concerning, but I guess a little funny. Yeah.
Yeah, Jack is an acquired taste.
You know, it's funny. I still haven't gotten to talk to him yet. I still need to talk to him about paperwork, too. I can never seem to catch him.
Yeah, good luck, because he certainly has not been giving me the easiest time.
Oh, no. It did. Oh, because, huh.
He is a wanted rabbit, but unfortunately, he is not very wise about how he decides to, you know, he's a problem for another day, I suppose.
Oh, okay. Bob doesn't look like he fully understands that situation, but okay. Hold on, hold that thought.
Yeah. Look, Jack probably hasn't filled out like any of his paperwork, and also he is a wanted criminal, and he almost died. Well, he did, he did die for a bit, and so Bond's allowed to be salty. Gosh,
I realized I muted myself on Discord, but I didn't mute myself on the recording, so they're just gonna hear my dad having a bit of a phone call. But anyways,
that's okay.
I'm back. What were we talking about?
Bond was moving on from Jack being a absolutely terror with paperwork.
I feel like after that, Bob isn't really sure what to say. So Bob's gonna do what Bob does best, and that's paperwork.
That's valid. So, I mean, it's adoption papers. I feel like they honestly have like a list of people who is like, legally responsible for this child, and so it just has Bond's name and like Bond's information, but there probably is like 2 or 3 other like places for other people.
Yeah, I think Bob will definitely put his name down in those places that will let him be that'll let him also like be legally responsible for Sandy. And I think because of this, since he's looking at the papers, I think does he see Marcel's? Does he see Marcel, or is that separate paperwork?
I feel like it would have like in one portion of like what are the other like children, like other people this person is in custody for. Marcel's would definitely be under Bonds. Like, I am also legal custody of this child, basically.
Bob does a double take when he sees Marcel's name on the paper. He goes, "Wait, Marcel?" And he will slowly turn and look at you, Bond. He looks at
Bond.
Yeah.
Yes, Bob?
Marcel's name is on these papers.
Yes.
But hold on. No, I'm gonna roll. Should I roll insight or just straight intelligence to see if
you can roll either. I'll put it that way. Either would probably work.
I'm gonna do insight because that sounds pretty good. That's 7. Oh no! This. Can I argue for advantage? Because Bob is.
You can argue for advantage.
Paperwork and signatures are like Bob's thing. 21. That's better. Okay, yeah. He looks at you, Bond, and he holds up the paper with Marcel's signature and goes, "This is a forged signature."
There is a reason for that.
And that reason is...
First of all, Marcel sucks at his paperwork.
Oh.
And second of all, he put his last name down as an A, and Vava Vixen
Yes.
cannot
Second of all,
have... Vava Vixen also shares custody of Marcel, so I cannot be fully held responsible for this scenario. And no, he mostly does not know, or he doesn't want to know. I don't pretend to understand. He's allowed to have his emotional constipation. I just do the paperwork.
roll insight.
Just, you've done it. You've caught Bon off guard.
Roll insight. Yeah, you see it clear. You see clear as day on Bob's face. The moment you say emotional constipation, Bob suddenly looks like he understands everything. He's just like, oh, yeah, Marcel is... I feel like it's weird that a nobody should call someone emotionally constipated, but, well, Marcel manages to impress. I'm just gonna add my name to his papers as well.
Yeah, we can just inform Madame Vixen that you're also on the paperwork. And, honestly, what Marcel doesn't know won't hurt him for now.
If anything, I just want to be able to be there if anything happens. Him and Sandy, they I don't mean to be... I mean, I say this in the metaphorical sense, but they mean the world to me.
On pauses, and they sort of like tilt their head at you, Bob, and they go, "You don't have to explain yourself, okay? I already have you listed as Marcel's emergency contact, and he doesn't need to know any more than that. He has quite a few friends already, considering I had to list quite a few of them out to him the other day. If he doesn't want to accept people care about him, it's not my business necessarily."
Well, thank you for doing this anyways. And he holds up the adoption papers. Even I imagine he'll get it someday, but until then, I am glad that people like you are looking out for him as well. And he's... You can roll insight if you want, but Bob is just genuinely and softly smiling at you, Bon. Like, he genuinely means that.
Oh, just, God, feelings.
Yeah.
Bon has feelings, and there are feelings here, and Bon is not quite sure how to handle these feelings, so Bon is going to very quietly pack these feelings away to be addressed later, or never. Who knows?
No.
Bon sort of nods at that, and they pause for a second, and then they get a funny sort of like grin on their face, and they look at Bob with like a distinct mischievous look to their eye, and they say, Sandy told me a few things about your friend Gil.
Bob tilts his head at oh, wait, which things?
I mean, there are a few concerning things, something about him getting hurt, but I mean...
Yeah, yeah, we had a boy. Well,
You don't have to tell me. It's okay.
no, but it might be good because you are a doctor, and I mean, we've all been taking care of him, but none of us are really medically professional. Hmm. To put simply, we had a run-in with someone who you can roll insight again, but I'm just gonna tell you can roll insight if Bond sees it. But I am just gonna tell you, both for the audience to know, that Bob just has a face of just like whoever he's talking
Yeah.
about. This is someone that Bob genuinely dislikes.
I'm gonna say Bond understands that because Bond constantly has that emotion that they
Yeah, but I will
understand this
say,
emotion on a spiritual level.
yeah, but it's an emotion Bob doesn't have of people very often, if ever.
Yeah.
So it was yeah, we had a less than pleasant run-in with someone, and he got hurt badly. He's fine now, I think, physically. Maybe. I mean, if you wanted, I mean, you brought him up, so I assume, did you want to meet him?
Oh, I can meet him again at some point, but we're filling out paperwork. I have extra paperwork. I assume he is also a criminal, considering how I met him the first time.
Yeah, yeah, you could say that. Though paperwork's being involved, all I ask is that my name can be on it as well.
I wouldn't have it any other way. And Bon reaches into their desk and starts pulling out more adoption papers and like medical papers for like like reference for like the studio, so it's got like allergies and emergency contacts and all that jazz. And they hand the first one to Bob, and then they set the second one down onto a clipboard that they pick up, and they pull out a pen, and they sort of look at Bob and they say, I'm going to start filling this out, I suppose, if you want to start filling that one out, and then we can switch.
Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, oh gosh, that just reminded me. You've only ever seen Gil, in his well, because when you saw Gil, that's not how he usually looks like. Um, Actually, he looks a bit different now, even from compared to back then.
Design change.
I think a little. He was wearing a disguise back when he came to visit.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I'll leave that part of it blank for now, and we can come back later whenever you finally manage to stick him to the wall. How about that?
Stick him to the wall. Bob looks a bit confused at that and concerned. You're not meaning that literally, are you?
No, but I mean, I don't know your friend's level of how fast can I run away from emotional habits. How
Hmm.
emotionally constipated is this friend as well?
Bob gives a thinking face to that. Uh, well, just in case, he has expeditious retreat, so I guess be prepared for that, just in case.
I suppose, well, I mean, Sandy offered to help. I suppose if worse comes to worse, we could always ask the engineer for help.
Oh, goodness, no, I wouldn't want to bother engineer about this.
I've worked for this man for 9 years, and I have helped him fill out so much paperwork. He can owe me this one, just this once.
You know what? I will, okay. I'll let you handle that. I still haven't, besides meetings, I haven't talked to engineer that much, so.
You're absolutely valid. He's
And
a
actually,
handful.
in most of the meetings, he usually just falls asleep, so.
Bond looks a little annoyed at that. I'm just going to give you that much.
Bob also looks, actually, it's more of like a resigned annoyance of just like, yeah, tunes are like this here. They are just not as into paperwork and business and accounting as Bob and nobodies are, so Bob's just resigned himself to this fact.
Bond Bond starts actually looking through their desk drawers. Like, they set down their clipboard and they start looking through their desk drawers and looking through their desk drawers, and like in the bottom of like the back of the bottommost drawer, they actually pull out a string of firecrackers. And they look them over to make sure like they're all intact. And then they hand them to you, Bob.
Uh, um, um, uh, Bond, why did you have these in your desk?
Because roll insight.
Okie dokie. That's my insight. Let me just. It's a 12.
That's a 12. Ooh. I'm gonna say you can definitely tell that Bon is hesitating. Like, they hesitated even to hand you these firecrackers. Like, they didn't want to give them to you, but they did. And they look at the firecrackers and they look at you, and Bon slowly
Jesus Christ.
sort of
Equipment.
Hold on 1 second. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's always during the emotionally tense parts. If anyone guesses where these firecrackers are from before I reveal, you get like gold stars. Yeah, some owls are walking by and Bond's just like, Other peckers in my mother pecking studio. I mean, it doesn't have to do with Bond per se. It's actually a reference to something Maud did.
Okay, I'm back. Hello?
Yeah.
Bond was handing Bob firecrackers.
Yes. Bond very hesitantly handed Bob these firecrackers.
And Bob, with the inside of 12, Bob is assuming he's hesitating. Bond is hesitating to hand them over because he is Bob, and these are firecrackers.
Bond looks the firecrackers over one more time, and they say, "You know, I'm sure you know about the accountant who used to work here before you."
Actually, I don't know a lot. I think his picture was left in the accounting office, but I actually don't know much about him.
Well, his name was Victor Tim, and he worked with the engineer for much longer than I ever did have. He had a similar problem, and he liked to use these to make sure the engineer and moves behaved themselves during those meetings.
What he would set firecrackers off during a count. What? Why would he? That's not with all the paperwork that's around. That's not safe. Why would he do that?
I don't pretend to understand the exact whys or hows of anything Nick did. Bon sort of trails off and looks to the side a little. They're like, I'm just gonna say it's very clearly that Bon has never really hesitated in front of you before, and now Bon is very clearly hesitating.
Bon and Bob will, and assuming they're both within arm's reach of each other,
Yeah.
Bob puts on his classic concerned expression and reaches over to place a hand on Bon's arm. Are you all right?
We weren't close necessarily, but I mean, he was a cleric, and it's my job to take care of everyone within the studio. And, well, you know.
I'm gonna roll just a history check real quick, because I know Bob looked up the taffy train incident. I just don't know how much he knows about it, because I don't think he's actually super talked to engineer about it. 11. Okay, so Bob, as much as the only thing Bob in Kent currently knows about the taffy train incident is that there was a train and it crashed, and it created a whole hullabaloo, and that's about his. So with that in mind, Bob's just gonna look a bit slightly confused at Bon. I mean, I understand he doesn't work here anymore, but I mean, I would think he would. Oh,
He died, Bob.
roll insight.
Mm-hmm. That's a 25.
25. Bob is. Bob's face drops, but not in a abject horror sense, but more in a it's gone blank, and he's processing what you have just told him.
Mm-hmm.
And you think someone like Bob would respond in abject horror, but right now he's thinking about the 9 months worth of paperwork that the engineer had piled up when Bob came to work here, and just how disorganized how everything was, how much dust there was in the accounting office, and everything. And it's kind of just one of those things that things are just clicking into place in Bob's head. And Bob just says, "Oh. Oh."
Yeah. And obviously, I was not on that train. So, there was nothing that could be done at the end of it.
I don't know much about I mean, I saw some news. I read up some news articles about it of just the train crashing and how it affected engineer. I didn't. Oh dear. And he looks down at the firecrackers in his hands, and now he's just thinking.
It's not on you for not knowing. It's certainly not exactly the Dodo Studios' proudest moment. I just thought that engineer should have learned better from the first time, and he really should take better care of his accountants.
Bob actually chuckles a little bit at that. Oh, no, I wouldn't hold engineer to any high standard or anything, especially from my own job interview. That was fun. As he's speaking, he's going to tuck the firecrackers into his hammer space and look at Bon, and he will smile softly. Thank you for telling me that, though. I think it's good to. I like to. I prefer to know things better than people keep. I mean, I don't think I wouldn't want to accuse anyone here of keeping that from me, but I can see why no one would want to talk about it or bring it up. But I am glad that you told me, so thank you, Bon.
Roll insight again.
Okay. I'm a little nervous of how this is going to go because my insight rolls haven't been good, and I have a high modifier with insight. I almost said I almost said I had a high modifier with insult. 7. What? Come on.
God. Dice Parser, why? Dice Parser is bullying you.
Can I argue for something, man?
Please roll with advantage because this is like very clearly obvious. If you get above a 10, I'm just gonna give it to you.
Yeah, like come on, Dice Parser, the peck.
14.
Thank you.
Okay.
14.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, Bob, you thank Bon, and Bon just looks. For a second, Bon looks like crushed. Just like emotionally, just like there is so much there that they do not have the want or ability to unpack right now because it's just they have accidentally stumbled into something, and it's one of those cases where it's like, oh dear, this is not the time nor the place for this, I suppose. And yeah, Bon, I just rolled deception for Bon, and it would have beaten your initial insight roll, but it doesn't with the 14. Bon tries to sort of pull themselves together, and it's very clearly like, yeah, there's more to that than Bon has told you. But it's very clearly Bon necessarily doesn't really want to talk about it right now because it's probably not exactly flattering towards the engineer or what happened involving with the Taffy train and just involving with Dodo Studios before the Taffy train.
And I think just Bob's expression turns actually understanding, because while he certainly doesn't understand the full picture of, and he definitely has several questions now, but he understands that Bon is not the person to haggle for answers. So he is just going to he's going to bring his hand back and just give Bon a gentle pat on the arm and be like, it's okay. You don't have to tell me anything you don't feel comfortable telling me about, but I think this is a conversation I'm going to have with Engineer himself. But it's okay. I think.
Usually
Maybe.
it's me saying that. Oh, I'm terribly sorry for bringing that up right now. Bill's paperwork.
Oh, right.
You have Marcel's address, correct? I have Marcel's address. He's staying with Marcel?
Yeah, Gil has a room at Marcel's apartment, along with Sandy.
That's good. And Bon, scribbles in some more stuff onto the clipboard. And it's a little distractedly, but, they're used to paperwork just like Bob is. They can do half of this stuff in their sleep.
Yeah, same with Bob. He he remembers that. Oh yeah, paperwork. This is what he came to do. So, well, they'll. He's gonna, in his own mind, he's shelving the questions of Victor Tim, and he'll consider the firecrackers. But that'll be for later. But that'll be for later. That'll be for an talk with the engineer.
Bon sort of, I guess, hits the point in the paperwork where, they don't actually know that much about Gil. So, they filled out quite a bit of like the most basic stuff. And then they glance over at you, Bob, and they, offer the clipboard out to him to take.
Yeah, and Bob is finished with his side of the paperwork, so he will basically swap. He will swap with Bon with the papers after burp again. God.
Yeah. Bon's filled out the adoption papers twice now. I feel like they go, fairly quickly. They scroll down Sandy's and Marcel's name under theirs and all that jazz with who they have custody of and this and that, their address and, where they work and stuff like that.
I think at some point, just for flavor, I think at some point Bob leans over and says, "That's not how Marcel does writes his E's."
I see. And they'll note that down for later.
It's like, if you're gonna forge the signature, you gotta do it right.
He's so valid, and Bon will take pointers because Bon isn't exactly proficient in forgery, but they're almost proficient, I'll probably say, just because they've been, basically forging a lot of paperwork for a long time because no one fills out their paperwork sort of deal. But yeah.
Does Bon complain about that a bit more to Bob? Because Bob would laugh at that.
Probably. At some point they probably just sort of grimace and they're like, this is worse than trying to fill out the engineer's medical paperwork.
Bob laughs. Yeah, I don't. What even is he, anyways? An owl? A bird? Is he even a bird?
He's what we call a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see why. Do you know when I came to interview for him, one of his animatronics went mad. We had to we had to put down one of his animatronics for the Star Cause movies.
You're kidding, right?
Nope. It was quite messy. Cables flying everywhere. There was oil spill. It was. Bob is actually looking back at this rather fondly. I was. I mean, at the time, I was a little bit annoyed, because I mean, obviously not very safe for the work environment, but oh no, looking back, that just seems like oh, what's the saying? Small potatoes? Is that the saying?
Yes, that's the saying.
Yeah. I don't know, a lot. I'm sure there's been way worse incidents in with filming than Mad Animatronics, but yeah. That was my job interview.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, goodness. I can't believe him, but it absolutely tracks.
Yeah. But I don't mind so much anymore. This place has been good to me, so it's not perfect, but it's better.
I'm really glad that you enjoy it here, Bob.
I do. But what about you? You've been here for what, 9 years? You said. I hope
Yeah,
you've enjoyed it.
it's been an experience unlike any other I think I could have found anywhere else in Einquell.
Hmm.
And I think at the very least it's worth it now.
Yeah, I think I could understand that. He looks down at the paperwork, and then he looks at you, Bon, and he looks to be thinking something.
Okay. Should Bond roll insight?
You can, if you'd like.
Bond, instead of rolling insight, Bond is going to place the paperwork down and place their pen down and tap on the clipboard and say, "Penny for your thoughts."
What? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just. Well, I had a thought, and he looks over at the clock. Well, it is around. It is around. I guess close. I mean, this place usually doesn't close, but today at least, workday seems to be over. I'd say, do you want to get a coffee? But we get coffee all the time during work. Hmm. Well, I don't know if you want to talk more. If we could be done with paperwork and go and talk. I don't know where we go. Maybe dinner? I wonder if Ross is cooking something. Oh, you could join us for dinner.
Bond. Oh, I'm going to have Bond roll something again, and we're going to hope it goes a little better. Oh, it's a straight 8. Wow.
Oh no.
You're a
What happened?
real piece of
What was he?
work.
What was he trying to do? What were they trying to do?
Hey, Bond was trying to roll deception again.
How'd that go?
Bond looks like they really, 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 really want to say yes. And Bond looks at the paperwork, and they look at Bob, and they look at the paperwork in Bob's hands, and then they sort of look off to the side. And they Bond sort of scuffs one of their feet on the floor. And what was that roll, Fable?
Was it insight?
I see. Bond.
I was planning to get a nat 1 again, but nope, it gave me 17. I was planning for Dice Parser to screw me, but apparently.
Yeah. Dice Parser said, no, Bond, you cannot hide your feelings, and Bob, you can absolutely have this one time. But Bond doesn't really answer, except they look like they really want to say yes, but they are sort of hemming and hawing sort of under their breath, you know how birds will sometimes make chittering noises. Bond is sort of making those chittering noises, like they're really thinking about it.
You know what? You know what Bob's gonna do? I've said this many times, if this were any sooner, before Bob's rounding out as a character, he probably would have just let this go on, but that's a 17 insight, and while Bob doesn't quite Bob, as far as Bob's concerned, he sees that Bond wants to say yes. And as far as he can tell, Bond, I don't know, is possibly as socially awkward as Bob is sometimes. So what Bob is gonna do is he's going to reach over and take the paperwork from Bond, and take the paperwork that he has. He's going to stack them. He's going to stack them together, but he's going to have a little something in between, so that way they don't get mixed up or anything. And he's going to place them on the side and start getting up from his chair. I think you'll. I mean, let's see. Oh, owls don't have tongues, if I remember looking up. But I'm sure we have something in the fridge that we can make up real quick that you would like. Oh, and you'll like Ross. He's very nice. Oh, and Brad would love to see you. Brad really likes you. I know that much, and I think you'll enjoy it. Unless you have something else planned. I just thought.
I don't have anything else planned tonight. I suppose yes, sure. I will come with you, Bob.
And Bob smiles. He looks very happy about that. Well, I just have to grab a few things from my office, and I'll be ready to go. Do you need a minute to get your things?
Yeah, I'll meet you at the door.
All right, I'll see you there. And he will go get his stuff. I'm sorry, Bond. Audio, I want you to know from the depths of my soul, I did not intend for this to happen. This was I just saw an opportunity.
I need you to know that the second Bob leaves the office, Bond is going to turn around so they aren't facing the door, and they're going to absolutely just bury their face in their hands and start very quietly screaming. Because they are going to die.
And Bob is none the wiser. As far as Bob's concerned, he's just like, oh, this is great. They're gonna have a guest for dinner. Oh, and he'll get to meet Ross, and Bond will get to meet Ross. This will be great. And Brad will have a good time. Bob's just like, this is gonna be such a good time.
Oh God, just yeah, it's you have sort of, I guess, the cut just in between Bob and Bond, where it's yeah, Bob's just happily walking towards his office, and then you just have the other cut, and it's just Bond screaming. Because look at those deception rolls they had. They're boned. They're not going to be able to lie to anyone for the next 24 hours because they're just thrown off their rhythm.
Rest in pieces. Bon, I'm so sorry. I saw opportunity and I took it.
No one's ever tried to call Bon out before. Bon doesn't know how to handle this.
Don't fight Bob on his +6 insight and his. Oh no, yeah, it's +6 perception and insight. Bob knows things. Bob can see all. Yeah, Bon is screwed. I think that's a good place to end this FPS.
Probably.
Like we just hit the hour mark.
Yeah. Just Bon just screaming because we're gonna have to tell Cranky that apparently Bon is coming to dinner.
Like, hey, you know how you guys were planning for Bon and Ross to meet? We got an FPS for you.
Amazing, gosh.
Nice. Dinner day. Oh, this would be so good. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. I'm so glad you could join us for this very entertaining and very.
Oh my god, it was so good. So many things happened.
A lot of good things happened, and I'm very glad.
God.
A lot of things we didn't fully plan out.
No, I mean we kind of started with just the very basic idea. So
yeah,
it all just kind of spiraled from there.
But it spiraled in good places, I think.
Yeah, I think it did too. All right.
But thank y'all for coming. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.